Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Intel. It is time for another update, and today we see some interesting developments we've had since the previous video. It was right during the pre-market phase in our initial crash within this area, and today we'll be discussing the relevant levels of resistance to watch as well as the expectations for the structures within this chart. But before we get into all those details, I would like to go quickly through the larger time frame for any of you who might be new. And here we actually have a couple of ideas we are tracking. So on the chart we have one of the simpler approaches, just a simple 1, 2, third, fourth, and a fifth that would be expected to unfold within an impulse in this area. Is this the only pattern we could be tracking? Absolutely not. I could even see this unfold as a series of 1-2 setups instead, or even this could be another 1-2 setup and a very bullish third wave could take place. This is probably one of the more promising high cap stocks that we can track because we have a very strong potential here based even just on the internal structure, which is what we will focus on. The larger time frame doesn't really affect what is expected to form, at least in terms of patterns within this area, because we are tracking just a simple 5-wave move to the upside within an impulse. Now, depending which pattern unfolds, if this is in fact a wave 3, this wave 3 could see even more serious extensions, but that remains to be seen. I cannot tell you now, and it's not even decided yet. It's not known which type of structure will unfold in this area, and if ultimately we will even see a more substantial failure. But for that, I'm still bullish against the areas of support. We have here still the area down to the $17.6, and we will have even an internal area of support that will provide us an even earlier signal that this structure isn't going to manage to extend higher. Now, as I was mentioning, we are focusing specifically within this structure. We are expecting the same pattern in all cases, and here we are looking for an ideal target for the wave 3 at the 138.2% extension of the wave 1 around the $200 level. We already had this as an initial 5-wave move to the upside in a leading diagonal. We had a 3-wave correction into the last level of support, so there were plenty of opportunities to look for a position and accumulate within this area. And I'm sure some people might have been more scared. Intel certainly was within a very difficult spot, especially during the last years, but it has seen the reversal. It has seen even a potential initial 5-wave move to the upside within the smaller time frame, which is exactly what we have been tracking to form what we always look to find and to look for positions within. Now, honestly, Intel is probably one of the best opportunities that I see on the market in the foreseeable future. Within this pattern, we already had an initial 1-2 setup. We already had our initial wave 1 to the upside and a 3-wave correction. We were looking for the next initial 5-wave move to the upside, and we have gotten it. If we manage to get into the area of support, we will have a double 1-2-1-2 setup, which is just another confirmation that the third wave is expected to follow, that we are looking for the strongest wave within this entire push to the upside to possibly form in this structure. Now, I'm not guaranteeing this because we could see a very strong third wave to the upside and then a fourth and a fifth, but this could form even a larger pattern and in the end form even another 1-2 setup. I won't be assuming all of these, but it's just for perspective that this is expected to provide a very strong structure that can provide a lot of upside that we should want to be part of. Now, we are tracking primarily for this the area of support between the $35.5 all the way down to the $22.5 level. Ideally, we get at least into the area of support. Now, the minimum expectations generally are that we form a 3-wave pattern at least into the first level within the area of support. Even if it is just a small wick into this level, into the 38.2% retracement, it would be already an initial opportunity to start accumulating once again, or to start accumulating if you haven't been accumulating during the larger blue area of support. And it's not a given, especially when we are looking at a 1-2 setup part of a larger wave 3. We have the micron chart, for example, where we didn't get into the area of support. It does happen at times, and we may be missing some opportunities because of that, but that is why we will be also tracking the internal structure within this area. Now, in this pattern, I consider this as a full structure, a full count in a 1-2, third, fourth, and fifth. I don't need any additional extensions to see this pattern as full, and I'm looking for the wave 2 correction. We already even have a very nice start to it because we have a sharp decline, a sharp correction, which is even expected, even common after a leading diagonal or after a diagonal in general. Now, within this push to the upside, we can of course still track extensions. In fact, even in the previous video, I was considering a possible top to already be in place. We were somewhere around the $50 area. We were looking potentially for the $52 level to be reached. We pushed even beyond that. We broke the levels of resistance for a larger downtrend pattern that could have formed within this area. And it is a good sign that this structure will likely manage to get through. Now, we don't even have a structure strongly indicating we should expect further downside once we have this pattern complete, because again, extensions could occur, but it is a good early signal that we have broken the area of resistance initially. Now, in terms of extensions, they are in place. We have been tracking them since the previous video, and I provided you this area of support, where a break below the 61.8% retracement at the $41.4 level would be a signal that this structure is rather likely going to extend in this larger wave 2 correction. Now, of course, other scenarios for extensions are possible, but I wouldn't necessarily focus on every single interpretation that could allow such a thing. And instead, I will be primarily tracking this one. And if we actually follow through and build this green scenario, I would expect even further extensions most likely, either within this being an extension of the wave 3 or this being only a wave A of the fifth wave to the upside. But at the moment, the internal structure is rather suggesting to me that we should be looking for further continuation lower. We already have quite a deep retracement, we have pushed beyond the 50% retracement. And not only that, we even have an initial 5-wave move to the downside, in my opinion, within this area that we have been tracking since the previous video already. Now, if this really is to form a wave 4, however, I would expect a correction similar in proportions with what we had within our wave 2. So ideally, we would still see another low within this wave 4 in green. It's not a problem, we still have room within the area of support, but it's something I would find likely if we are to follow within this idea. And to the downside, I'm going to track this as an initial wave 1 down, a wave 2 up, and I'll be looking for a third, fourth, and a fifth. I will be tracking a larger zigzag correction within this wave 2 in yellow, and we could see quite a substantial extension overall, because this would be only the initial 5-wave move within a wave A. In an impulse, we would be looking for a 3-wave correction in wave B, and then at the very least another 5-wave move to the downside within the wave C. Now, can I guarantee that it will unfold in this manner? Absolutely not, but since we have our initial 5-wave move to the downside, that is debatable. It's not a guarantee, it's not a must to be a 5-wave move, but I would be watching with high regard this area of resistance for continuation to lower prices. For this, I am considering a wave 2 area of resistance that goes from the $46.6 all the way up to the $51.7. We have so far retraced perfectly into the 61.8% retracement and already created a pretty nice reaction to the downside. Now, you may be thinking, this initial push to the upside actually looks like a 5-wave move itself, and it does kind of look like that. But unfortunately, within this push, we have here an impulse in a wave 1, a wave 2 correction, an impulse within a wave 3, a wave 4 correction, and then, what is this? A 3-wave pattern in this push to the upside. Well, this means I cannot really consider this to be an initial 5-wave move. This means that this might actually need another high to be able to track this pattern. Now, is this a must? No, because I could also see this unfolded as the triangle in an A, B, C, D, E, and then this could be a 5th wave, so I will be watching an area of support for continuation higher, but since from the larger time frame perspective, this is an initial 5-wave move to the downside, I will be extremely cautious in looking for a position within this area. I personally don't believe it's necessarily the best idea, but it is certainly possible to track an area of support for an extension even in a 1-2 setup here. Now, it is within a very small time frame, and we have just gotten rejected from the area of resistance, but I'm watching for support here, the levels between the $46.6 all the way down to the $43.7 level. Below the 78.6% retracement, I would consider that this structure that has begun pushing to higher prices would likely fail, and that we should be prepared for a more direct descent in the next wave to the downside, whether that is within the wave 4 in green in a reset or within the wave 3 in yellow. Doesn't really matter to me right now. This is what I'm tracking. Now, internally within this pattern, I'm looking already at an initial 3-wave move to the downside. I'm looking for a potential wave 4 correction and an extension in a 5th wave that could provide yet another 5-wave move to the downside. But keep in mind, this is within a very small time frame, and the patterns are very difficult to actually consider within this structure. reliable. I would be prepared for distortions and I wouldn't necessarily focus too much on the count, which is why I won't even add a count for this structure, yeah? Now we can add a tiny area of resistance assuming a third wave bottom is in place, although even that could extend, but I will be watching for continuation lower here against the $47.4 level, and a break above that would signal that we might be prepared for at least a reset within this wave 2. If not, we might be looking at a less reliable structure to extend within this push to the downside. Now, in terms of extensions, since we started talking about them, for a wave 3, within this area, we would be watching the 138.2% extension of the wave 1, that is right around the $34.7 level, yeah, around that area. I'm not drawing this perfectly, but very much in line with the structural support we have here within these pushes to the downside, also within the larger area of support in yellow. Now remember, we don't have a defined time frame, we must complete this larger wave 2 correction within. And we are pretty much done with the smaller time frame. I want you to have some more information regarding here, this wave 2 correction. Once again, the last level of support I'm watching for continuation to higher prices is the $22.5 level. Between the $35.5 and down to the $22.5 is an accumulation area in my opinion. It's an area with high probabilities for a reversal in a third wave to the upside. This is expected to be a very, very strong movement, a very impulsive structure, and is expected to form very shallow retracements and offer little opportunities for additional entries. I am not guaranteeing you that it will succeed in building the structure. I'm not guaranteeing you that it will hold the area of support, but I do find it extremely interesting. This is the type of structure we are always looking for when we are tracking opportunities. If we are to push directly to higher prices, I will be considering this an extension of the wave 1 most likely. If we fail to form a more significant top and extend higher and higher, it might be the case that we may see a more direct extension in the larger pattern to the upside, but this would not be ideal. The RSI is suggesting to us, even on the weekly time frame, that we have a more significant top in place. And let me even hide some of these structures here because I want to highlight a few ideas. So we see on the price structure, we have formed here after the third wave top a higher high. We have formed a lower high on the RSI. Afterwards, we have formed another even higher high on the price chart. We have formed a slightly higher high on the RSI. This is common within an ABC pattern to form, yeah? Within the wave A, we see a lower high compared to the third wave top. We see a wave B retracement. Within the wave C, we see usually a slightly higher high compared to the wave A, but still below the wave 3. This is suggesting to us that this pattern is complete and doesn't need any additional extensions higher. Once again, I want you to be fully prepared for what we are tracking on this chart because, once again, I believe this is going to be one of the best opportunities to track in the near future. I cannot guarantee you how long this wave 2 correction will take. We need to be patient, but we are looking for a 3-wave pattern. We know what we want to see on this chart. We may even see an initial 3-wave move to the downside. We may see afterwards a push to higher prices, a quite nice rally, but then it might even form an extension. It is possible, but it still fits within our plan as long as we hold once again the $22.5 level. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.